Hi, this is a very quick little tutorial really. A little piece of work that I'm doing, a little short, needs lots of these little robots, and this one's already done with a walk cycle. But even though this is really low polygon, when I do like an army of them, it starts to slow the system down. So I kind of like looked at ways of reducing the poly count really, in the amount of whether to use clones or how to do it. So what I decided to do was just render out a scene, and then basically just map it onto polygons. So I'll show you exactly what I mean. So I'm going to render it roughly in that view, and I've set it to a square size. So the top dimension, the vertical is the same as the horizontal. And I just rendered it out with, show you the materials. So I'm just putting a completely black background on the material of the character itself. When you see it rendered, I've taken out a lot of it's very subtle shadowing. Didn't want anything particularly harsh, it's just quite soft shadows, and it renders very quickly anyway. So in the render settings, all I've done is, like I say, width and height the same. Rendered out all the frames. Anyway, it's set to 60 frames and it does loop, and that's quite important. Switch on the alpha channel here, so click alpha channel, and I'm rendering an image sequence of TIFFs, like so. And that'll just render out 60 images of the animation. So we'll just quickly do that. And you'll see that there now, so that's calculating. It's just going to render me out the full walk cycle. There's no motion blur or anything on it. It's just literally the full walk cycle on the black background, foot quite on the floor there. And that's nearly done now. So just make a new window. In fact, let's open up the material manager, because there's one that I just did. So basically I'll create a ground plane first of all, and we'll just put one light in it for later on and just have it casting shadows. So leave it as Omni, set it with ray trace hard so I can actually see it. And then what I'll do is I'll just create a really small polygon. So I'll just create a single polygon, with 1 by 1 really. So we'll set the width to 1 and the height to 1. Can make it editable, doesn't really matter, and we'll just rotate it. Give it 90 degrees exactly, and then we'll just sit it on that ground plane like so. And you can see this quick test render, that's what we've got. So next thing to do is go to the material, create a material, and it's called Lobot because that's his name. Double click for the material editor, and under colour just call up the textures, and then go into the directory where you've saved the TIFFs and call the first one of the sequence in, like so, and click on it and go into animation. You want to set mode to loop, exact frame, and then under here is movie start frame 0, end frame 60, 30 frames per second, because that's what I was working at. And then let's just turn specular off anyway, and that's basically brought it in for you. So if you drop that onto there, go down to editor and change that up to nearer the final resolution so you can see, and that's placed the image and the sequence onto the plane. Now there's a couple of issues there straight away. One, the alpha, and two, it's not gonna, if I run the animation, it's not showing me anything. So So first of all, I can hit animate preview, drop it down to the ground plane, just letting it cache. About there. And if we just copy the color channel, right click copy, and then the alpha, paste that in, that should, in theory, switch on the alpha. It should, and it has, have taken out the background like so. Now you might say, or you might think that that's not that much use, but actually when you think about it, let's just run it now. Straight away we've got one polygon and an image sequence. Now, a couple of things you can do really, certainly to make it quicker. Well, first of all we'll test it. So we render it, we're definitely getting shadows. So that's a help. So we can copy and paste it. And bear in mind this is just one sequence that we did. You can make variations on that to give it some break the symmetry a little bit, because obviously this is going to look, this is really for distance stuff that I'm planning on using it for. So I would probably do one. So there we go. You can obviously work on the render, but if you've got that in the distance now, and you're not working across too much of an angle, so obviously if you come around here, it's no use to you at all. Although the silhouette is actually quite nice. Actually, no, I do like that as a silhouette. Render it that way doesn't really work. So yeah, from that angle, and certainly from the distance, if you look at it like so, it's not that bad at all. Especially if you're trying to create an army or an effect like that, and you don't want to hog your system. You've got the equivalent of what there, 3, 6, 18 in there. Or there's another way, quite straightforward way really. Just pop in where he is and just go to MoGraph, clone it, drop the plane into the cloner. Have to rotate it the correct angle. So let's just get that to 90 degrees, like so. And now you really can go nuts by just double clicking your cloner. Go to grid, and then we want to set some of these parameters without being silly. I'm just trying to put in a number that's not going to be too crazy. So there I've just put 13 that way, and I'll put 10 that way, and then spread them all out. Now, as I say, you've got the same sequence here, so it's not particularly, there we go. With it being the same sequence, it's very, very regimented. But because you're getting good parallax there, and you can see the benefit, and I've used this quite a bit, certainly for distance. If you look, I'm talking about that sort of distance in the scene, and you can really go to town. And just clone, you can just duplicate your cloners, and because of the fact that you're using the clone and it's a single polygon, you can literally create massive armies. that look with the right lighting. It's beginning to slow down a little bit now with that many, but so for your distance shots, 1 polygon, 60 images in the right angle, pretty useful.